Number one of the greatest single half performances I've ever seen in basketball. I've fully watched all of Magic, all of Bird, all of Chuck, all of Jordan, Ewing, Olajuwon, all of them. It was one of the best halves. It was in the top 5 best offensive halves of basketball I've ever seen.
What Caitlin Clark just did in her first game back wasn't just impressive, it was historic. After missing 5 games and watching the fever spiral in her absence, she returned with a vengeance and shocked the entire basketball world. From fans to rivals, everyone was left stunned. This wasn't just a solid comeback, it was a statement. With the spotlight blazing and the pressure sky high, Caitlin delivered a performance that didn't just lift the fever. It reminded everyone exactly who runs the WNBA.
I'm gonna say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
It was a 38-second stretch of pure Caitlin Clark magic that reminded the world exactly why she's the one. It had everything: deep range, killer confidence, and the kind of clutch awareness that separates legends from the rest. With the league watching, the moment looming, and the pressure cranked to max, Caitlin didn't just owned it. Even Liberty players and their coach couldn't hide their reactions. The crowd was buzzing. The internet exploded. And the haters, they're now clawing at anything they can find because Caitlin's dominance is impossible to deny. It's breaking them. In an era of hot takes and highlight reels, those 38 seconds might go down as the most iconic stretch in WNBA history. Before we break it all down, mash that like button if you were hyped for her return, and drop a W in the comments if you watched the game like I did. Scene. This wasn't just another game on the calendar. Caitlin Clark had just missed 5 straight games. In her absence, the WNBA got a harsh reality check about what life without her looks like. The Fever stumbled to a 2-3 record, including a brutal loss to the Connecticut Sun. But it wasn't just that they were losing, it was how they were.
Wow, the Indiana Fever are just not fun to watch without Caitlin Clark.
Nangon, Fever teen fans fell in love with suddenly looked like they were stuck in neutral. The tempo dropped, the energy dipped, and instead of the high octane, they were moving at the speed of the DMV on a Tuesday morning. Here's the hard truth. If the Fever aren't playing fast, fearless Caitlin Clark basketball, it's not just Indiana that suffers. The entire WNBA takes a hit. And man, did the league feel it. Ratings dipped, momentum stalled, and the vibe, it flatlined. Clark isn't just a star, she's the engine. And when that engine was sidelined, the wheels nearly came off the league's hottest tickets.
Media, I felt like, mishandled so many things with the WNBA last season, and specifically with Caitlin Clark and her fan base. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark.
And plod fast, we're talking over a 50% drop league-wide during Caitlin Clark's absence. It wasn't a slump, it was a free fall. And the worst part? The void she left behind wasn't filled with show-stopping plays, it was chaos. Highlight reels gave way to Angel Reese missing layups, Deja A. Carrington swinging wildly trying to replace Kennedy Carter's drama, and an on-court product that felt lost. Meanwhile, casual fancy's exact audience the WNBA needs to survive and grow are tuning out. Fast. And can you blame them? The league hasn't exactly rolled out the red carpet for them lately, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Without Caitlin Clark, the energy vanishes. The excitement fades.
New fans are sucking the life out of the WNBA right now.
Was the ultimate find-out moment for the WNBA. Brutal reality check. After dragging Indiana fans through a 10-day hate speech investigation built on nothing but unsubstantiated rumors, the league had already planted its flag in hypocrisy. They launched a full-scale inquiry without solid evidence, while ignoring the very real, very public vitriol being hurled at Fever players, especially Caitlin Clark, from all directions. And let's not forget, this all followed months of condescending jabs from media figures and even some players accusing Fever supporters of not being real basketball fans. But when Caitlin went down and the lights dimmed, the league got its answer.
Get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud locks her up.
When the news finally dropped that Caitlin Clark was cleared to return, it felt like the entire WNBA exhaled at once. The Fever, the league, the broadcasters, and especially the Fanseverian knew what her return meant. Energy, viewership, and hope were back. And the timing? Absolutely poetic. She was set to return against the same undefeated New York Liberty team that handed her team a heartbreaking loss in her last apparent thanks to a missed foul call on a game-tying shot as the clock expired. That game, if you remember, pulled in a record 3.3 million peak viewer Suntal. Those numbers cratered during her absence, so now all eyes were back on the court, and the questions were simple but massive. Would Caitlin Clark be the same? And could she instantly lift a team that looked lost without?
This was an unbelievable ass kicking by Caitlin Clark.
By a shaky start and the Fever falling behind early. Caitlin Clark reminded the world exactly who she isn't. Did it in a stretch that might go down as the most electrifying 38 seconds in WNBA history. With her team down and momentum slipping away, Clark took over it. Started with a deep signature three that barely grazed the net. Then, on the very next possession, she threw a no-look dime that had the crowd roaring. Just seconds later, she intercepted a pass, sprinted down the floor, and drained another three from well beyond the arc. Barely blinking dot in those 38 seconds. The arena flipped. The energy was different, and more importantly so was the game. It wasn't just a highlight moment, it was a statement. Caitlin Clark is back, and the WNBA is hers to shape now.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark. Two players with incredible up. Clark, another long three. She's back.
Stepped up and drilled 3 deep three-pointers in a row, each one more fearless, more electric than the last. It wasn't just a hot-handed, was Caitlin Clark grabbing the spotlight and refusing to let go. The crowd erupted. The bench lit up. The Liberty looked shell-shocked. In less than a minute, the entire tone of the game shifted. What had been slipping out of reach suddenly felt winnable. That wasn't just a scoring run, it was a thunderous statement, and the sports world exploded. Social media lit up. Analysts couldn't stop talking about it. Opposing coaches were caught shaking their heads in disbelief. In a league starving for defining moments, Caitlin Clark just delivered one of its best ever.
3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half. Caitlin Clark hit 3 logo bombs, by the way. 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. This was the Caitlin Clark we all said, oh, she's different. she's sent from outer space. The Caitlin Clark that we saw today was the Caitlin Clark that we were accustomed to seeing. Oh, it feels good, folks.
Was yet another iconic Caitlin Clark moment, right? Up there with that long-range bomb against Brazil that instantly went viral. The kind of shot that doesn't just win games, but cements legacies. Clark doesn't just rise to the moment, owns it. She thrives on the spotlight, performs with swagger, and somehow always manages to deliver the exact thing fans showed up hoping to witness. When the stakes are highest, Caitlin Clark doesn't just show ups, takes over.
Caitlin Clark show is very real, and Caitlin Clark's ability to rise to the moment and put on a show is remarkable.
There's just like a certain star quality and like star power there, but it takes you being confident enough, willing enough to be like, oh no, I know what you want. Come here. I'm gonna give it to you. I loved it so much.
Caitlin already had the crowd roaring and social media exploding, but what she did next shut down the doubters and left even the elite speechless. Late in the first half, she pulled off a disrespectfully cold step-back three right in the face of Breanna Stewart's eyes. That Breanna Stewart, former MVP, Olympic gold medalist, and one of the most decorated players in the WNBA, and Stewart's reaction, absolutely priceless. A split second of stunned silence, followed by a headshake that said it all. This rookie is the real deal.
The second-year players clearing out that side of the floor are shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time with it.
And better look closely in the background. Liberty head coach was literally clapping and smiling, not yelling, not calling timeout. Just smiling beckos when greatness shows up. Even your rivals have to respect it.
In Stewie's face, and Stewie couldn't help but laugh. Couldn't help but laugh. Caitlin Clark letting her have it. And folks, look at Sandy Brondello. Sandy Brondello can't even hate. Sandy, you can hate. You need to appreciate, folks.
She didn't just come back. She came back swinging, rewriting the momentum of the game and reminding everyone exactly why she's the face of the league. And make no mistake, this wasn't just hype or headlines. It was real, tangible impact. The Fever went into halftime with the lead, and Caitlin Clark had just delivered one of the most electric, jaw-dropping first halves we've seen in years. It was the kind of performance that forces everyone, fans, critics, and even opposing coaches to stop and say, okay, she's that good, and for all the noise around her. That's the truth they can't silence.
Caitlin Clark just scored 25 points, and the quarters in the WNBA are shorter, not as long, as the quarters in the NBA.
Exactly, and that's what made her first half even more impressive. Caitlin wasn't just scoring 25 points, was doing it while carrying the entire offensive load for a team that looked flat without her. The hockey shift comparison was perfect. Every time she hit the floor, it was instant energy, instant tempo, instant threat. She was the offense. But fatigue was real. You could see it in her legs and on her face. After all, she was fresh off an injury, facing the top team in the league, and still giving 110% every second on the floor. If the Fever were going to pull off a win, Simeone Nona is going to have to step up in the second half. The question was, could the rest of the squad match her energy? Or was this going to be another game where Caitlin had to do everything herself? Let's dive into what happened next.
The shooting from Howard, Boston, and Kelsey. Kelsey started making a bit of a comeback shooting, but at one point, she was awful in this game. I mean, her shooting percentage was I believe, 22% on like 14 attempts or some. It was bad at one point.
Caitlin didn't just score, she elevated everyone around her. The team that looked flat and unsure during her absence suddenly played like they had a purpose again. You could see it. Spacing was better, ball movement had rhythm, and players who had been hesitant were now taking confident shots. That's the ripple effect of a true leader on the court. Even while her second half minutes were limited, the Fever played like a unit again it, just a team waiting on Caitlin to save them. And that's the scariest part for the rest of the WNBA, because if Indiana can combine Caitlin's electricity with a confident supporting cast, that's not just a fun team, that's a dangerous one. Want to break down the fourth quarter or dive into the media and fan reactions?
Kelsey Mitchell was plus 21, Aaliyah was plus 10. They went on a run in the fourth quarter without Caitlin Clark. And a big reason for that, if I'm going to criticize her when things are bad, I'm going to praise her when things are good. Because Sid Colson did exactly what she was meant to do. She did exactly what she was meant to do. And what she did was push the pace, play aggressive defense, and run.
Caitlin Clark didn't just help the Fever beat the league's last undefeated team, she rewrote the narrative. After missing 5 games, battling an injury, and carrying the weight of media pressure, she returned and immediately put up 25 first-half points, the most by any WNBA rookie this season. And beyond the stats, she completely changed the tone of the game. The Fever, who just days before looked lost and injury-ridden, suddenly looked like contenders. And while the final minutes were just a countdown to the upset, what everyone will remember is how Caitlin stormed back, took over, and put the league on notice. This wasn't just about one win, it was a turning point. For the Fever, for the league, and for Caitlin Clark's rookie legacy. Ready to break down the records she set in that game? Or want a highlight-style outro for your video script?
Stephanie White did sub her out, I think, more than we would have seen had she been playing. And guys, she almost had a triple-double in this game. 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 32 points. By the way, let me point, and 2 block shots. That's one of the most ridiculous stat lines you will ever frickin' see from any player, WNBA or NBA, either one.
It wasn't just Caitlin Clark dropping 30 and doing things no rookie or veteran has done. It was what her return unlocked. The energy, the pace, the swagger. Fever basketball finally looked like Fever basketball again. The ball was moving, the crowd was alive, and for the first time since the season started, it felt like the team wasn't just surviving, they were thriving. Caitlin wasn't just back on the court. She brought back hope, momentum, and a clear reminder when she plays. Everything changes. Want me to wrap this all up in a short, punchy video outro, or repurpose this as a powerful YouTube description or headline?
That is what I like to call Fever basketball. The Indiana Fever have come out and dominated.
Presence doesn't just boost the box score, it transforms the identity of the entire team. The tempo, the confidence, the ball movement, it all shifts when she steps on the floor. Suddenly, it's not just basketball, it's a show. It's electric. It's must-watch. And when the Fever play that WA, they don't just compete, they believe. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a video script outro A, YouTube title, and description A real caption, or short-form TikTok. Hook happy to help package this into something Sharidi.
That's how the Fever are supposed to play basketball, up-tempo, unselfish, working for your teammates, so really proud of our group.
None of that mattered in the end because the product was compelling. And that's the point. Your wife's reaction that is the exact reason Caitlin Clark matters so much to the WNBA. She's pulling in people who don't usually watch, not with controversy, but with pure skill, energy, and presence. You don't need to be a lifelong basketball fan to appreciate what she brings. She makes the game feel like an event every single time she touches the ball. And if that's what it takes to grow the sport, then let's go, because this is how movements start.